Alright, sir, can I put you on hold?
Yes, I can hold. Yes! I would like to place an order for delivery.
So you want to place an order for delivery?
Yes!
Okay, can I get your name, sir?
Aku.
That's Aku.
I think I'm in the computer.
AKU?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, we just found you, Aku. What would you like for your order?
I'd like a large, extra thick.
Okay, so you want a large, thick, pepperoni? I'll hold the pepperoni. Okay. It's gonna take about anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes, okay?
30 minutes, oh, it's free. Excellent!
How is it going, everybody? Wanna just say shout out to everyone who's been following me for 2021, and to the new subscribers, I'm be thanking you, for checking out this video. This one is gonna be a big animated show that I grew up on. It came on in the early 2000s to be Samurai Jack. It came out in 2001. The original seasons lasted for 4 seasons, so it's 2001 all the way to 2004, 2005. Then the series got brought back, due to fans, loving the series so much, and we had a final season. It came out in 2017, which really tied all the loose ends, with Samurai Jack, ultimately facing the epitome of evil, Aku. So we're gonna dive into this video, but before that, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. This is a series that again I grew up with. It was part of the whole tsunami explosion of animated shows. The 90s had passed, so there's great animated shows such as the Batman animated series, the Spider-Man animated series, Dragon Ball Z, of course, Keone. It was a new kind of transition to the new kind of 2000s, animated series. Tsunami that was created on Cartoon Network, which had all of the, let's say, the late teen, the teen cool animated shows. They had this kind of block on Cartoon Network where they would show Dragon Ball Z. I remember Tenchi Muyo used to be on there. I believe Sailor Moon, Outlaw Star, Gundam Wing, Cowboy Bebop, and another one that was shown on there was Samurai Jack. But it was funny because when I always remember this, and this is goes history back. I remember the first time I watched Samurai Jack, it came on this whole hour on Toonami. I was in the States at this time. There was so much anticipation. The show, there was this cool little vignettes, little trailers of Samurai Jack coming to Toonami. Be there to watch this new animated show. Toonami Tom about the new series, and I remember the first time watching, I had to be even 10 or 11, watching this animated show, and I was just yo man, what is this? This was amazing. To the history of the show, Samurai Jack series was created by Gendy Tartakovsky. He created Dexter's Laboratory series, Dexter, Dee, the Boy Genius. A lot of people grew up with Dexter's Laboratory show, such as me. Episodes where we had Dee over in Dexter, and he was trying to make these experiments, in his secret lab in his room, and it was a great way to see what Gendy was working with, and what I love with Dexter is, especially before that show, there's nothing like it, Dexter kind of worked in that format of it had these smaller episodes, episodes within with a half an hour broadcast. They had this Justice League kind of parody. Justice Friends assemble.
the Justice Friends, three of Earth's mightiest heroes, joining forces under one roof to face the challenge of everyday life.
You know, where they had like a parody of like, you know, Captain America, the Hulk, and Thor, you know, paying rent, you know, and like see, which I always thought was cool. Then it would go back to Dexter, you know. So it was a show that I was watching, you know, completely. You know, once like Dexter was over, Gandhi actually pitched a few ideas to like the Cartoon Network. Dexter was a pretty big you know, success, you know what I mean? Like everyone you see, even on merch today, you see some people like reciting like lines from the you know, the show. You know, I've even watched like a few episodes of Dexter in the Spanish, you know, I've seen it on like HBO Max, you know, so it has like a pretty good like fan base, you know, around the time when Dexter got complete. So Dexter ran through like 96 to 2003, you know, totaling the 78 episodes, you know. Once that was over, Gendy, like in between, he met with like the executive Mike Lazo, and he pitched the idea for what was Samurai Jack. It was like a kung fu show. He had this idea of to incorporate martial arts, you know, and some scenes of Dexter's laboratory, some of those elements that were in there were brought into Samurai Jack. More of an epic telling of it, you know, because that's what one thing Samurai Jack does well, you know, it's like epic storytelling. The whole premise of Samurai Jack came from Gendy's. He grew up with his fascination of like the samurai culture, you know, the Japanese, you know, the Bushido code. You know, it's something that was very, grew up loving this, and he wanted to tell that story in an animated format. And it pretty much evokes like the 1970s cinematography. You know, if you do see Samurai Jack, you know, there's a lot of like cutaways. There's scenes where they don't even use the full like aspect ratio of the screen, you know, and it just like, you know, even like it does a bit of like a kind of double takes, you know, when someone gets hit or they show something, you know, so it incorporates a lot of cinema scope that you would only see in movies, that they brought this into this TV show. And it goes to again of saying like how the show is massively very important scale of an animated series you're watching. You know, when it did finally debut in 2001, so early 2000s, you know, when this came out, you know, as a cast, you know, so Samurai Jack, the main you know, leading protagonist in this show, Samurai Jack, who is voiced by Phil LaMarr. You know, if you don't know Phil LaMarr, you know, he actually the first time I actually saw Phil LaMarr was in the movie Pulp Fiction, Quentin Tarantino. You know, he's the guy when you do that scene of, you know, Samuel Jackson is reciting lines from the Bible. You know, he says, that's a tasty hamburger.
This is a tasty burger.
Why the fuck didn't you tell us somebody was in the bathroom? Slip your mind? Did you forget that someone was in there with a goddamn hand cannon?
You see this?
You know, Phil LaMarr is that guy, just about like apartment. So, and it's funny, you know, talking about Pulp Fiction, because I think like even Samurai Jack does even put some of those elements of Pulp Fiction, especially like the short stories within the episode and how they weave together, you know. But you know, Phil LaMarr, he does, and he's, you know, he's done like other great like animations, you know, voicing, and I'm sure I'm gonna put that once I've done the editing, you know. But basically, you know, he's a character introduced as a Japanese prince, raised since youth as a samurai warrior who trains under numerous teachers in a variety of skills in order to destroy the demon Aku with a divinely crafted sword. Seconds before he can kill Aku, the demon sends his eons into the future, where Aku's future self rules all the earth on the post of adopting the alias Jack. The samurai makes it his mission to find a way back to his time to implement Aku's post-apocalyptic dystopia. So when you watch the first episode of Samurai Jack, the beginning, you know, so it shows him, you know, Aku coming for the first time, which I'm going to talk about later, and then him getting sent to the future. Jack is basically like the hero's, he's the hero's hero, he's the protagonist, very similar to how like Goku is in Dragon Ball Z, or even Bruce Wayne Batman in the Batman animated series. From the youth, this is when Aku does a rampage. They had this plan, which they explained in the episodes later, of like Jack as a boy now needs to go travel the world and learn these different styles from these like teachers, these different mentors, and it harks back to like even Goku in Dragon Ball, when he's on this whole journey, searching for the Dragon Balls, this whole adventure, and he's learning from these different tutors, across the world. Similar as Bruce Wayne from Batman, Batman selfly went out by himself, at the age of like 12, 14, and he traveled all across the globe and learned these different styles. So I did love that was a nod to like Samurai, to Goku and Batman, or Samurai Jack doing this, and what I love with is like there's a cool montage of that, especially in the early clip of like him learning from like, I think it's Robin Hood. He learns from some of like the Aztec warriors, and he learns all these different styles, and you see him mature until the man who is ready to fight Aku, in the first premiere episode. He spends majority of this series as a pretty much loner. There's a lot of episodes where Jack is just walking around, especially when he does come to the future. He's walking around, he's going to the distance beyond, and he's trying to find a portal, because that's pretty much the main point is, he's trying to get to a time portal to get to the past to undo what Aku has done. So there's a lot of times like Samurai Jack goes and he meets these different people, and it's like just different interactivity. You can see it's disciplined and he's structured and he's very layered, as you see for the series. And I just love like how he journeys, the evolution of where you see him from the episode 1 of he gets sent to this futuristic world, and he's not back home where he is in Asia. And it's like he finds, from all these skills that he's learned, he uses that to journey in this futuristic world, and it blends well, So you can't have a good protagonist unless you don't have a good villain, And where Aku comes in, again, as I said, like Jack had not been someone you've seen before. Aku was someone who was very different from any kind of villains you'd seen in the animated series before, like. With Aku, what's kind of weird thing, especially like me watching the whole series back, in some ways I feel like Aku he's evil, especially by like the presentation and his deeds he does, but he's actually very comedic. You understand? Like he does draw like a lot of elements from like Freddy Krueger or even like Chucky, who are like and that's like live action serial killers, but still villains. But it's like a villain that has an extreme, and I mean extreme, comedy side. One good thing with Samurai Jack, I love how it's a show that doesn't take it too seriously. It is a cartoon animated show. Other animated shows that they have just one tone, and if they do insert some amount of comedy, it's very limited at best. Samurai Jack toys with the comedy from the beginning, and one of the biggest examples is Aku. From when he's introduced, especially like in the later episodes, it is a lot of like banter with him, like when people will come to like his lair and he's like, why are you bothering me? Just his like facial expressions, as you see Aku from the series. And even when he does like get into battles with Aku, even later on, like one of the powers Aku has is he can shapeshift. So there's a few episodes where Aku being Aku, because he's this ultimate power of evil, he will shapeshift and kind of work with Jack, for Jack trying to achieve his like main driven goal, which is like to return back to the past, a la looking for the time portal. Villains would never ever spend at least of all like close proximity with the protagonist, you know what I mean? But it's like Aku has this kind of fondness of like toying with his enemies. So how the story premises pretty much starts is like Aku had been this evil that had been like locked away From scenes after, you find out that like when they do like the origin of Aku, he had attacked that area in Japan where Samurai Jack and his mother and father, the queen and the emperor, before, but Samurai Jack's dad was able to defeat him. He was able to get that katana that was given him to basically the katana that was given to him by the gods of Rama and Odin to defeat the shape-shifting supernatural entity that is Aku. So he attacks again 8 years after. But they made a contingency plan to basically use Samurai Jack in order to basically, Samurai Jack can be the one to defeat Aku. So Samurai Jack does return back into the kingdom that Aku has now enslaved everyone, including the father, and he comes and retrieves his katana, the katana that his dad had used to, beat Aku. Samurai Jack, who at this time is unnamed, he's not going by Samurai Jack, he faces Aku in his lair, and it's like, battle, and he gets the better of it. And just before Samurai Jack is about to lay the final blow, Aku sends him into the future. He does that attack, and he sends Jack straight away when he's just destroying. You see the scene of Samurai Jack going through the future. He doesn't know where, when, or what he is. He lands in the distant future. So like when Samurai Jack does arrive, he arrives in the it's this dystopian retro futurism ruled by Aku. The first people he encounters call him Jack. That's why I said that's how he gets the name Jack. He just keep on saying Jack, 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 Jack. Slang in which he adopts his name. So like it's strange because the name he uses never gets mentioned. So like most episodes pretty much will depict like Samurai Jack, like helping and also trying to get past various different obstacles. Basically the ultimate goal is to put a finishing end to Aku, which he basically needs to, the time portal that Aku sent to get Jack, sending Jack to the future. Jack is trying to reverse that and return back to the past, so that moment where he was able to defeat Aku is that Samurai Jack is a cartoon show, so especially him using the katana, the sword, I don't think they did want it to show too much slice and dice humans or animals, to not show so much blood. So the dystopian future has so much robots. Robots are the primarily focus of the show. Majority of the enemies Samurai Jack's face are robots, and he was smart because he could do all his skills and katanas and slice and dice without it being like too messy or bloody. You just take kind of oil fuel from the robots, which is really cool. The episodes how they are like pretty much like the Batman animated series. You could have one episode focusing on it could just be a set episode where Samurai Jack is going to work on this, and then afterwards it will never get mentioned again, not even on the flashback. It was just one episode and it's done. Like for instance the one where Samurai Jack meets the scientist in the forest and they're trying to go, I think they're trying to make a way to space. After that, Samurai Jack helps them, he beats those the bots. Samurai Jack, the Aku bots beats them. They're never mentioned again. As far as I know, you don't see them again. Then you can have episodes which I fondly love is where like the Scotsman, so he's one of the recurring characters. I think he's voiced by John DiMaggio. I'll put it up here. He's a recurring friend of Samurai Jack that he appears in the, I believe it's the first season. He's a regular guy, and the story basically picks up when they last met last time. When Samurai Jack gets amnesia, when they have to save like his wife, the Scotsman's wife, and then you even see his scenes when he appears in the 50s. It's cool, like focusing more on individual stories. You still have the ultimate, getting to Aku at the end, but Samurai Jack does these individual episodes. Samurai Jack was one of the top animated shows on Cartoon Network / Toonami, especially where I watched it. When it got to the 4th season, the last pretty much episode was Jack and the Baby, which was, as I said, it wasn't tied to Aku or like any of the past episodes before. It was just a straight up, you could say, other episode. they kind of left this episode on the open, you know what I mean? This was like the final episode of the original series because Gendy and Tarkovsky and his team were now working on the Star Wars Clone Wars series, which again was just these shorts animated, and that's even amazing as well.
Alert! We are losing ground on Sector 4. Repeat, losing ground. Positions! Hold your positions!
You know, I remember having Dexter and watching Samurai Jack and then watching Clone Wars, and you know, they had ideas for like a movie. You know, they were trying to possibly get a movie done. You know, I wonder how that would have been. And also, like, they had like Samurai Jack in video games because Samurai Jack was a big like flagship, especially of new anime characters that came out on Cartoon Network, just like the Powerpuff. And also like you know, Dexter, you know what I mean, he was a big flagship. So, and especially when season 4 just left, like, it wasn't even a cliffhanger. That was the thing, it was just like another episode. 2017 revival came, you know, so this was just like 10 episodes, you know, that was gonna basically conclude the whole Samurai Jack series. So as I said, it never followed like the last episode of season 4. This was just gonna focus primarily on, like, you know, Samurai Jack and finally putting a stop to Aku once and for all. The tone, you know, this wasn't put on Cartoon Network. You know, even I don't even think they show it. Like, if you watch the season 5, like you watch the ending of the season, you know, I'll talk about the music. You know, it doesn't even show, like, you know, Samurai Jack cutting that Cartoon Network. You know, it was produced for Adult Swim. So they focused more on, like, it's way more mature than the original series. You'll see scenes of, like, you know, them using vulgar language. There's blood now, you know, and it will show Samurai Jack, you know, meeting, you know, his future wife, you know, which is that. But I always thought Samurai Jack was a mature show anyway, similar to like Batman, the animated series, but they bridged that fine line of like not going too extreme. You know, they did that. They structured it more for like a still as kids, but it does have mature themes. And I love how this one is able to go all out. Honestly, the conclusion to this story was very, very sad because it goes 50 years now to the future, and Samurai Jack, for some reason, he doesn't age. Everyone has aged. The Scotsman, you know, Samurai Jack meeting those people in the party, you know, the kids he was trying to save, you know, it's this like new kind of look, you know, he's got long hair, he's got a beard, and you know, so Ashi was one of the, Ashi's basically like you know, the spawn of Aku. You know, she was a kid who was trained to, you know, destroy the samurai with her sisters, and she for unbeknownst, you know, she ends up like falling in love with Samurai Jack, and they work together to put the ultimate stake in the heart of Aku and defeat Aku once and for all, as they do, you know. And well, I love the relationship between Ashi and Samurai Jack. So Ashi voiced by Tara Strong, you know, who voiced a lot of characters in the Batman and Superman animated series, you know. I said majority of the times of the series, you know, Jack is alone. You know, he does meet a few kind of chicas, you know, one of them is even a cool god though. You know, he meets a few girls, but because of this like ultimate like you know, his goal that he has to do this as well, not just even for his parents, but you know, Aku has caused so much devastation to the past, present, and future, as the intro, you know, when Samurai Jack is doing that monologue. You know, so like Samurai, even when he's with Ashi, he doesn't want her to get too close because of the fear of, you know, what Aku just being there has like a poison everything. So if you get too many close, there's a fear I may lose you as well. Seeing like Ashi kind of transform to like him, Samurai, to finally understanding the truth what Samurai Jack is. Very sad ending, you know, of like you know, they did it, you know, they destroyed Aku. But then sadly, like, you know, Ashi was destroyed because she was a part of Keone. And it even gets me emotional even seeing, you know, we're talking about that. The soundtrack, you know, this is one part I always love to do. You know, as far as I know, the original Samurai Jack music wasn't released, you know, so for the first 4 seasons, it wasn't released, you know, so most people find it such a thing, you know. I found it not only just YouTube, but I actually ripped some of the music from the show. You know, if you check like this video, this is a cool track that they used like when Samurai Jack was on the move, you know, that's why I called it, you know. So as you see Samurai Jack journey from the series, they'll play this tune, you know, which I'm gonna play now. But they did actually release for season 5 an actual soundtrack list for the 5th season. You know, so I'll read them out. This season you got the main Samurai Jack tune featuring Phil LaMarr. You've got Samurai featuring Joanne Higginbottom. You got Cold Ass Killers, Wedding Day, Aku TV. You got the Sakaroche by Skibidi-do-do-do. You got Lone Wolves, Daddy's Girls. You know, and it's a track that has almost 20, around 20 tracks. You know, songs that are very like similar to the earlier seasons. You know, but definitely the music, especially for the first 4 seasons. You know, if I do have the name of the actual composer, I will put it right there. It perfectly captures even Jack's like struggle of like trying to get to this time portal. You know, they got the theme for when he's on the walk. You know, they got the theme when he's in action, and I even love the music that's even used in my favorite episode, which is Tail X9. You know, it's a little sleeping. It's got that jazz melody tune. You know, it's amazing. You know, but yeah, definitely, the soundtrack is as incredible as the series is. You know, the soundtrack even puts it into a new caliber. Right, so my final thoughts on Samurai Jack. You know, this is as I said, this is a series that I grew up with. One of the biggest strong points with this series, just like the animation and just the cinematography. You know, never have you seen such a show that has just this kind of feel to it. You know, like the episode with Samurai Jack with the 300. You know, epic storytelling, or you got the episode where it just focuses on the robot, the Tail of X9. I love how it got stretched out, where it could balance it of having just episodes, which could just be episodes, and you still look large. Or like season 5 did a splendid way, you know, and I never saw that ending coming. You know, of like where you feel that emotion of what all Samurai Jack had to go through, and then he loses like, you know, a potential maid, you know, the woman he was going to marry on the wedding day. So he did ultimately finish his conflict with that could, when he came out lost, you know. So I love the series, like really talks about sacrifice. You know, if you see a lot of scenes in this, you know, not even just dealing with Samurai Jack, but sometimes sacrificing something to get the ultimate good. So yeah, if I had to give Samurai Jack a final score, man, no doubt, it's a 4 out of 5 series. You know what I mean? If I say like the goods with this show, definitely the score, Gendy's direction, you know, like the cinematography, or just like the way the show is shot. You know, loving that like it had a good balance of episodes and also the overall plot. You know, the story. Negatives with this show is possibly we had to wait so long to a conclusion. Season 4 to season 5, you know what I mean? It was a big wait, you know. Us a lot of viewers and fans, so you know, anticipating like after Jack and the Baby, and then when you see like the new season, you know, that's possibly the only nitpick. It's just a long wait until that, you know. So yeah, both, you know, that's my review of Samurai Jack. You know, the original series that came from 2001 to 2004, and the revival 5 that came from the late 2010s, 2017. So you know, you've heard my thoughts, you've heard RichManZ's thoughts about this show. You know, let me know what you think. You know, until next time, guys. Next review. Until next time, guys. I'm gonna keep next reviews a secrets. Just remember for this year, 2022, to update your wallet.